We have to get back to a country again. We have to be respected. They laugh at us all over the world. They're laughing at us. And you know what they're really laughing at? Kamala, because they can't believe that she's going to be president. They can't believe. You talk about cognitive problems? She's got bigger cognitive problems than he has, in my opinion. This is how we're going to end the era of inflation and mayhem, misery. Under Kamala and Crooked Joe, we had such misery.
There's so much there that's so amazing. The projection of just saying everyone is saying and thinking the thing that I'm thinking, and I don't understand it. And we'll get into that. But I also love this, I guess he calls it the weave. It's like, nah, she's stupid, she's a dummy, she's a Dumbo, and this is how we're gonna cure inflation. What? We're gonna insult Kamala Harris and that's gonna cure inflation? People have been insulting Kamala Harris for a little bit now. It doesn't seem to be singularly helping our inflation problems, but the main thing there was, of course, she has worse cognitive issues than Sleepy Joe. Her brain is falling apart. She can't get, remember, she is the woman who just a couple of weeks ago beat him decisively in a debate. And that is why he's saying this. Let's be very clear about that. He sees her and he thinks she's stupid. Sorry, he thinks she has to be stupid. She has to be. I mean, first of all, she's a woman. And second of all, a woman of color. She has to be dumb. How is she beating me in the debates? How is she beating me in the election? And everybody's thinking, how is she possibly going to be president? He's thinking that. He's thinking, how am I not automatically being given this thing? How am I not getting the right-wing version of what they think DEI is? But for me in this election, I should automatically be winning. And so I'm just gonna try to do to her what I did to Biden and hope that it works, and I don't see why it would. So I'm just gonna say that her brain is decaying.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
Well, in a moment, we're gonna run through just some of the recent issues he's had cognitively, and we're gonna talk about that. But Sharon, what do you make of this?
Oh, I was gonna run them down, but I'll stick with the past. You know, it's been several years since Donald Trump told us to drink bleach. Several years later, so it's only going to get worse. Don't you remember this campaign before Joe Biden dropped out of the race? He kept saying that he was running against Obama. He's not quite sure where he is. He's telling people that their pets are in danger of being eaten by legal citizens. He's just, I think his family needs to hold his hand, trick him perhaps. What do you call those things where you can get a hold? And I don't mean to make light of it. He needs one of those 48-hour holds so they can at least get him, they need to get him evaluated, John. I mean, we don't know how bad the decline is. We're only seeing bits and pieces as he talks about Hannibal Lecter, okay? Mm-hmm. This is a crisis. And I don't know why his family isn't getting involved here.
I think the issue is that they just don't seem to care enough, I guess. But anyway, is everything about Kamala Harris great? No, we got issues with her. We got issues, some of the way she talks about certain issues, some of the changed positions she's taken, some of the just positions that are consistent with Joe Biden that we don't like, situation in Gaza, stuff like that. But the issue that she has cognitive problems, nope, she doesn't. It's a very intelligent woman. She just is, whether I agree with her or not on all this stuff. She's a very intelligent woman, and that clearly bothers him a lot. Meanwhile, you have Trump, who had mental problems 10 years ago, and oh boy, have things gotten exciting recently. So we're gonna run through some of those things. I wanna start off with, though, I was reminded by Stefmont in the chat who says, what are you talking about, John? Obviously he won the debate. Just ask the audience that was totally there. He said there was an audience. What are you talking about, Grandpa? There was no audience there. How is that not like every media outlet should be like, do you really remember in your mind that there was do you see an audience right now? Is there an audience around me in this room? He's making up audiences, or he actually thinks that they were there. In recent weeks, he said that he would deport Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, quote, back to Venezuela, which is either an issue of his memory and brain, or he's just that racist. And he's like, what's the difference? Hey, Venezuela, same thing. I don't know. Is he racist or is he demented? That should be a game show. He said that he was being supported by the vice president's family. He meant the family of Governor Tim Walz, who's running for office, but is not the vice president yet. Trump, you're getting ahead of yourself. It'll happen in a few months, but we're not quite there yet. He truthed a great day in Louisiana, which I guess in a cosmic sense might be true. Maybe some people in Louisiana had a great day. The issue is that he hadn't had a great day in Louisiana because he posted that right after having a rally in Savannah, Georgia. Georgia, very much not being Louisiana. They're different states. Imagine if a Democrat mixed up those two. I'm just saying. But anyway, he tried to correct his mistake by later truthing that there was internal polling in Louisiana that showed him, quote, winning the state by the largest margin. First of all, no, there wasn't. You're lying. Second of all, it's Louisiana. You're supposed to win it by 38 points. How is that your cover story? Later that night, he finally sent out a shout out to Georgia. Okay, so he eventually got around to it rather than just being like, sorry, I travel a lot and we're doing a lot of rallies. I got mixed up. But he can't do that because his brain is Swiss cheese and also he's too small to admit when he made a mistake. He then went on to call Charlottesville Charlottetown when talking about the 2017 violence there. I don't know what Charlottetown is. I've never heard that before. It's a weird mistake to make. Let's see, he recently insisted incorrectly that he'd been in a helicopter crash with former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown. I think it was actually like a state legislator of California who represented LA. There were two black men. That's the only thing they have in common, but I guess it was enough for Trump. He has repeatedly hurled critiques at former President Obama when he appears to be trying to talk about President Biden. He calls that sarcasm. Nobody understands what's sarcastic about that. But anyway, and we're gonna get in just a second to some of the scientific critiques of his brain recently. But Sharon, what do you make of all of those?
John, this is where we are. This is the state of things. And it's cuckoo. It's like we're at the circus. There's a 3-ring circus too. And there's definitely something going on in each of these rings. But for him to say that Kamala Harris has these cognitive issues is just, you would think that the people who follow him blindly would even wake up at this point. You would think that the people who are behind him would try to protect him more, like in a Wizard of Oz, the curtain type way. But it's just not happening. And I think it says a lot about this country and the people who are in it. And I'm not trying to down America, but the fact that we are even delivering this news and people are saying, I'm undecided.
I know.
Undecided? I did Kamala's policies. This guy said he was going to do 200% tariffs on John Deere. I think he said it yesterday, okay? He has love letters with Kim Jong-un. I couldn't sleep last night. I was staying up watching a public broadcasting documentary on the entire dictator family and the whole North Korea thing. And this is who he's proclaimed as one of his romance lovers.
Yeah.
So what can we do here to wake these people up? I just don't know. I don't know.
It's like,
isn't it nutty?
Are we ever gonna have like a 70-30 election? Because I can't imagine they come up with a worse candidate next time than they have with Trump.
Oh, they'll do it. They'll do it.
Buckle up.
Werewolves, Herschel Walker talked about those, remember?
They're cool people. They're cool people. But anyway, as I said, this is such an issue now with his brain that it's not just us looking into it, scientists are looking into it. So in August, the science and health focused website Stat News published a detailed analysis of his speech patterns in recent months compared with public speeches just from 2017. It's not going back to the 80s. Several researchers noted, quote, more short sentences, confused word order, and repetition alongside extended digressions. The weave, I think you mean. It's the weave. Anyway. James Pennebaker, social psychologist at the University of Texas at Austin, performed a more formal analysis for Stat based on complete transcripts of 35 Trump interviews from 2015 through this year. Using statistical software, he found a roughly 60% increase in use of absolute terms like always, never, and completely. Trump's recent dialogue also contained fewer positive words. And by the way, increased all or nothing thinking can be linked to changes in cognitive ability. Pennebaker wrote that also another person whose all or nothing thinking has gone up is Biden. And I don't think Donald Trump wants his cognitive status to be compared to Joe Biden's, but yeah, it's simplistic thinking because he doesn't have the capacity to think in a more complex way. He barely did when he was only an elderly man. Now that he's an extremely elderly man, he just can't do it. And so he's lashing out. He's lashing out as a way to not think about his own problems, but also to not have to think about the terrible situation that he finds himself in, where he doesn't seem to have the ability or the will to actually turn around the political problems that he's facing. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.